Hey everyone, this is Mark. Today we're going to take a look at deploying flows with Apache NiFi using Cloudera Edge Management. Cloudera Edge Management contains Apache NiFi MiNiFi in addition to EFM or Edge Flow Manager. And that's what we're going to take a look at today. We're going to take a look at deploying a flow and updating it. This flow is going to go out to an agent on my local network, and it's going to access a NiFi instance on that network. We're going to clear out the queue so it makes things a little bit easier to see. But this flow starts with get file, which pulls in CSV data. That's then passed to a CSV reader, which parses all those records out and writes them out as JSON, and writes each flow file out with one record per split. That then goes to get country, which is a processor that obtains the country based on the IP address in that data. Route on attribute will then identify the attribute that was added from get country to know where we should send that information, or whether or not we should send that information. So in this example, we're going to take an RPG, we're going to add it. We're going to set our path. Let's get the RPG input port. Other is the name of the route on attribute property. In this case, we're looking for country, where it's the United States. So now we get to publish our flow. I could see that you can't see it. It's in a later video I'll show how we know that this was deployed, but I can see that it's been deployed on another screen. What I want to show is actually the fact that we've received our data now. Country is United States, and it's JSON data. It's been converted from CSV. This is just mock data, which contains names, email address, and IP address. One more time, take a look at some various information. United States, United States. Now let's make a change. Let's change this to where country is not United States. Let's publish this. You don't actually have to enter comments. I just have a habit of entering them. So let's see if our flow is deployed by looking to see if the output data is. There we go. Probably have some earlier data where it was United States, but beginning around toward the end, Canada. Let's take a look at some of our further data. China again, France. So we can see that we've deployed a flow and made changes to it successfully. Let's talk about this flow in a little bit more detail. This is an agent which has several capabilities enabled, such as JNI and Python. Get file, log attribute, and route on attribute are all written in C++. Split record, along with the controller services defined within there, are written in Java. And get country is written in Python. But the flow designer doesn't require that you care or even know about that. Here's the get country processor, which I added for the purposes of this example. We've defined what it does, defined the properties. We'll get the property field name, and we get the JSON. If it's invalid or there's a failure in that process, we'll just transfer it to failure. But in this case, we have an agent which allows us to not worry about where this feature originated or what language it originated in. So therefore, we have a lot of capabilities that we can deploy. Here's a C++ capability. Here's a Python capability, and they're configured in the same way. Let's open up another flow. This is an agent class which can be deployed, say, on a smaller device that can't have or doesn't want a JVM at all. And we have about 25 processors available. JNI and Python capabilities can be deployed in a very tiny footprint, but there are going to be use cases which obviously don't want a JVM at all. So these JVMs tend to be significantly smaller. They're what I like to call micro JVMs, and they're very pointed in how we use them. So In our case, we only use them to access key features within NiFi that allow us to run these processors and controller services. So in this case, you can deploy a flow very easily without having to worry about whether it's written in C++, Java, or Python. We take all the legwork. So the important thing, I think, the takeaway from this video is I really wanted to show that you can very easily update and publish your flow, but if you enable certain features within the agent, you don't even have to worry about where that feature originated. We'll take care of the legwork. You can deploy your NARs or your Python processors with ease. What EFM provides is the ability to deploy that flow, make that design in a very easy and trackable way. Appreciate the time.